One of the most devastating experiences you can have with a narcissistic partner in your life is the withholding of sex, the withholding of intimacy, the withholding of affection. Now, I've made videos talking about why narcissistic husbands stop having sex with their wives. I'll put a link to that video right there. You can check that out. And this is also true for why narcissistic wives withhold sex and intimacy from their husbands. It comes down to control, manipulation, domination, and it leaves you in ruins. Now, we've talked about the reasons why, but what we have not yet talked about is the consequences, how it affects you mentally, emotionally, and physically. In this message, we're going to do just that. I'm going to talk about the 4 main consequences you can expect from a lack of intimacy, a lack of affection, a lack of sexuality in the one relationship where you should be able to express that, where you should be excited to express this, where you're looking forward to expressing this, where you have every right to express your sexuality, your affection, and your love. Let's talk about the consequences in your life of not having that. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. Now, before I do continue with this very important message about the consequences of a lack of sexuality and affection and intimacy in your relationship with a narcissistic person, I want to let you know that I'm here to support you. Down in the description box below this video, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. I do take telephone calls as well as video calls through Zoom, FaceTime, and WhatsApp. So if you're in a marriage or in a long-term relationship and there is a lack of sexuality, there's no intimacy, there's no affection, a couple things I want you to do right now. Number 1, take that wedding ring off, because it's apparent that the marriage has been abandoned. The relationship has been abandoned. And next thing I want you to do is schedule some one-on-one time with me so we can talk about ways to resolve this issue in your life. In addition to one-on-one coaching calls, I also have a coaching program. My coaching program is live and in person each and every day. I don't just throw books and videos your way and say, peace out, good luck. I'm investing my days with you Monday through Friday. In addition to daily support, every Tuesday night's fellowship where we open up the Bible, we see what the Word of God has to say about dealing with narcissistic people in this world. Thursday night's Backstage Pass, coming soon to the Royal We Coaching Program, is a workout regimen that's tailored just for you by some of the most highly sought after longevity coaches. They're going to get you into shape mentally, emotionally, and physically. So head on down there and get started right now. Speaking of the Bible, one of the most important things to understand about marriage is that one of the purposes of marriage is, in fact, to be able to express and ground yourself in physical, sexual intimacy. I believe it was Paul that said, it's my desire that people don't get married. However, because you burn with desire, you have this passion, not all of you, but some of you. This message may not pertain to all of you, but many of you who are watching right now are gifted and blessed with a God-given gift of sensuality, sexuality, lovemaking. It grounds you. Not only does it ground you, but it's a blessing. It's a gift that you have to offer your partner in life that should bless them and make sure they have the best day every day. And that's what lovemaking is to you. It's grounding. And it's so much more than that. We're going to talk about this in the message because the consequences of not having a partner, a husband, or a wife who is sexually active with you, the consequences will share a lot about how important it is to you to be able to have sexuality within your marriage. So let's begin with the first consequence of being a highly sexual person, meaning you love affection, but you're married into a situation where you don't get to explore that, or you're denied, or you're neglected. All right. Number 1, the first thing to go is your peace. That's right. A lack of sex in your marriage, in your committed relationship, will cause a disturbance in your peace, right? What we don't understand about sexuality is there's a nurturing aspect about it. We're not intended to go out and fight in the world and this and that for work and for money and try to clamor in this and not be able to come home to something where we can create peace. There is a peace aspect to your sexuality. It's a part of your rest. There's a nurturing aspect to it. Think about this for a moment. It's interesting that most people, after they reach climax, what typically happens? What typically happens right after you reach climax in a sexual experience with somebody that you love? Right? It's like instantly just go to sleep, right? It's a whole rejuvenation of your body. It's a complete nurturing experience. It brings sleep into your life. It brings rest into your life. It brings peace into your life. This is a part of sexuality that we oftentimes miss. It's not just about acting like rabbits and getting in all kinds of fun positions. That's fun too, right? Getting in all kinds of crazy positions, doing stuff. But it's the overall feeling and what it does, the relaxation, the moment of where the world no longer matters. The fight during the day no longer matters. You're just able to rest and sleep and fall asleep in the arms of the person that just brought you to that place where the world can disappear and they can rest in your arms. For a man, there's nothing better than to just rest in the bosom of his woman. That nurturing place where there is no more fighting and war in the world going on. In that place, there's rest. Now, when you have a partner that is denying you of this sexual experience, denying you of this affection, denying you of this intimacy and this nurturing experience, guess what? You have no rest. Now, do you? You come home and you don't get to release. So the first thing that you're going to experience in a marriage or in a committed relationship where you are denied sexuality, you're denied having that connection, denied having that intimacy, the first thing to go is your peace, which means you're not going to be sleeping well. You're not going to have rest. As a matter of fact, it's going to be the opposite, because now it's going to stir thoughts inside of you. Why? Why is there no intimacy? Why is there no affection? And now these things are going to keep you up at night. Not only that, but they're going to follow you into your work. You're going to be occupied. Why is there no intimacy? What am I doing wrong? What's not right in our relationship? Why is this not happening? So it's the reverse of what it should be. What you should be having in a marriage or in a intimate partnership is that rest, that coming together, that mutual agreement. Let's have rest. Let's have peace. Let's enjoy each other and let's rest and let's find our nurturing. And instead, you're left with questions, with curiosity. What am I doing wrong? It's a disturbance in your peace, and now you have no peace. Now you're fighting every day to work, to do this, then that, and coming home, and now you're fighting another battle inside of you with this wrestling, constant wrestling of what am I doing wrong? So the first thing to go as a result of not having sex with your intimate partner is a disturbance of your peace. Number two, the next thing, and by the way, these are not one at a time. These consequences stack on top of each other, and it's important to understand that. So the disturbance of your peace is now always going to be there throughout the rest of these. These are all going to stack up in your life. All of these consequences stack on you. It's not one at a time. They stack up. The second consequence is desperation. So first, you're going to have a disturbance in your peace. Then you're going to become desperate. Out of desperation, which is essentially you're hungry, you sense you're starving. It's like you're not being fed. What happens when an animal or something, a dog, a cat, is starving? Well, it's going to start acting out. It's going to do weird things in the house. You might start to see that you're acting out of desperation. You might find yourself doing things, willing to do things that you never thought you would do before because you're desperate for that touch, you're desperate for that rest, you're desperate for that sexual experience, you're desperate for that encounter. Now, granted, what you're doing is playing right into the narcissistic person's hands because they love watching you in desperation. As a matter of fact, when you have a narcissistic partner, husband or wife, they get off more out of watching your acts of desperation than they do making love to you. This is a sad reality. Their supply is in watching you chase your tail out of desperation. So this is where you might find yourself bending over backwards to try to do whatever to appease the situation, just to get that touch, just to bring that sexuality back, just to bring that intimacy back. You may cross your own boundaries. It's all out of desperation. And the problem with acting out of desperation in the situation is that you're no longer doing it out of love and out of commonality and out of mutual appreciation and mutual love. You're now doing it because you need to do it, because you're missing it, because it hurts, because you're hungry, because you're starving. And so now you're acting out of your own character, which is going to present your life a whole new set of problems, because now you're going to introduce the possibility of guilt and shame and other things into your life that's going to do what? Add to the lack of peace. It's going to add to the stress. So do you see how now your desperation in the situation is now contributing to a more uneasy lifestyle, a restlessness, a lack of peace in your own life? So now you have the lack of peace, which is number one. The first thing to go is your peace. The second thing is you're going to start acting out of desperation, which is going to add into the restlessness in your life. The third thing is that your confidence is going to fall. Now you're going to start questioning, there's something wrong with me. Your confidence in your beauty, your confidence in your looks, your confidence in what you have to offer is going to start to deteriorate. This is the third thing that starts to go. You're going to look in the mirror and you're not going to like what you see because it's been rejected. You're going to feel uneasy about yourself. In addition to that, the fact that you've been acting out of desperation is going to add to that. You're going to start to feel disgusted with yourself. This lack of confidence is going to affect everything in your life, not just the relationship with your intimate partner, but you may find yourself being withdrawn from friends, from family, from people in general. When the one person in your life, your husband or your wife, who's supposed to love you, who's supposed to make love to you, who is supposed to appreciate your body, appreciate you physically, and want to share this with you, when that's rejected, when they reject you, suddenly it's difficult to even talk to other people. You carry it with you. You carry that rejection with you at work, around your family, around your friends. You may feel withdrawn from a lack of confidence. And from this place also, you're extremely vulnerable. And so from this place of a lack of confidence, you may find yourself vulnerable for validation from the outside. Somebody walks by and makes a comment about how good looking you are. Suddenly, you're like, whoa, that felt good. And so you're also in a place of maybe jumping into something, an affair, adultery. And listen, it's not your fault, even if you do. After all, you've been in a marriage that's been abandoned. Your partner has abandoned you physically, causing you to have a lack of peace, causing you to fall into desperation, and now causing you to have a decreased confidence in who you are and who God has given you and made you to be. And so, of course, somebody comes into your life out of that vulnerability, offers you some food, offers you some nurturing. You're liable to take it. And it's going to feel good. It's going to be like eating a meal when you've been starving. However, you're going to realize eventually that the meal that you've eaten is not the meal that belongs to you. It's going to taste good, but it doesn't belong to you, which again is going to contribute to your restlessness and lack of peace, which is number one, and further desperation. Number two, see how they're stacking onto each other? Last but not least, when your confidence has fallen, next is going to be your health. That's right. The lack of peace in your life, the constant restlessness, which leads to a desperation and a hope that your partner will love you, will have sex with you, will appreciate your body. Hope deferred makes the heart sick. In addition to that, the tanked confidence in your life, which now makes you vulnerable to outside validation, outside of the marriage, outside of the committed relationship. Now, all of this comes together to really take a toll on your health. Your immunity can drop because you're not sleeping as well. You're not getting your night's rest because you're not at peace, because you're not having your climaxes, you're not having your nurturing experience with that person that you love. So obviously over time, this is going to tank your health. Your lack of confidence, the depression, it takes its toll on your body. You may start to have illnesses, sicknesses as a result of the depression, from the lack of confidence, from the desperation, from the lack of peace, and the lack of rest. What's worse about this is that in time, your own views of sexuality may change. You may start to convince yourself that sex isn't good because of the problems that it's causing in this particular relationship, because you are a person that God has gifted to be sexual, to be intimate, but you're with a partner, a husband, or a wife that has robbed you and neglected you of it. And so as a result, your lack of peace, your depression, right? Your desperation, your lack of confidence is now shifting your view of sexuality to making you believe that it's a dirty thing. Now, you're completely losing yourself. This is the deadly place of being with a narcissistic person who has robbed you of sexuality, robbed you of intimacy. You don't want to be in that place, ever. Listen, as I said before, if you're being robbed of sexual activity, intimacy, nurturing in your marriage, you might as well take the wedding ring off because they abandoned you. God has gifted you with sex. God has gifted you with this beautiful connection between two people. And if it's not there, what's there in your marriage? Somebody out there needs you. Somebody out there needs your sexuality that you bring to the table. Somebody needs that affection. Somebody needs that rest just as much as you do. And that's really going to get you once you realize that the gift of sexuality that you bring to the table is that one thing that would make the difference in another person's day. But it's not, because you're with a narcissistic partner who their number one concern is control, manipulation, and dominance. And the fact that you enjoy mutual sexuality, they can't do that with you. I know this is a difficult message. It's not easy because you have some tough decisions to make in your life. Are you going to spend the rest of your life taking this beautiful gift you've been given by God for sensuality, sexuality, for oneness, for togetherness? Are you going to spend the rest of your life squashing it, which is robbing you of peace, which is causing you to become desperate, which is causing you to lose your confidence in life, not know who you are anymore? Or are you going to change your course? As I said before, I am here to support you. Down in the description box below this video, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. I take telephone calls, video calls through Zoom, FaceTime, and WhatsApp. So don't hesitate. Head on down there. Schedule that time with me right now. I'd love the opportunity to speak with you, to save your life, to get you into a place where you can begin to look for a future of peace, where you're not desperate, but you're together. In addition to the one-on-one coaching calls, I also have a coaching program. My coaching program is live and in person each and every day. Consider joining the Royal We coaching program. I'd love to see you there. And I'll be back with more videos right here on the Royal We. Before I leave, head on down there. Hit the subscribe button for me if you're not yet subscribed. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss any future videos by the Royal We. And share this video with somebody who needs to watch it. And I'll be back. Before I leave, check out one of these videos recommended by the YouTube algorithm. Bye, everybody. Have a good night.